So, I don't know how many people we have on live at the moment, but good evening everyone, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to an evening with Jermain Jackman, where I'll be singing, speaking about politics, my experience on The Voice, social justice, and many other things with my good friend Mahamed Hashi. Thank you so much for joining us today and this evening. I am all over the place. So the story goes, I fell asleep and I only just woke up. So I hope you guys can hear me. Can everyone hear me okay? Just making sure everyone can hear me okay. So welcome to the Own It Festival, the virtual festival, where we are working with amazing artists, authors, speakers, to share their stories, and to explore social justice politics. So I'm glad you guys can hear me. But I hope everyone's doing well with the coronavirus and the impact of coronavirus. My family are doing well. It's just unfortunate that it's not the same for other people. Let me just call. Could you? Okay, and then request when you get on. Cool. All right, cool. All right, dope. So we're gonna have a Q&A session with one of my friends who runs. One of my friends, Mahamed Hashi. He's coming online right now, so hopefully he'll be with us.
Brother
Yes,
Jermain,
bro. How are you?
I'm right. You know, my barber's let me down a little bit, so I got to put on a hat.
That's all right. That's all right. You got that lockdown look.
Bro, look, I'm just look quick on. That's it. The
It's all
lockdown
good.
on
It's
there.
all good. All right, cool. Let me just make sure I get these angles right, yo. Oh, there we go. Is that all right? You guys can see me okay?
It's good.
Wicked, wonderful, beautiful. How have you been?
Bro, I can't even complain. You know, I've just been running around today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not
I
all
know
good.
how
How are
it
you?
feels. I'm good. I've been running around today as well. So much so that I got so tired. I fell asleep at around 5 o'clock, and I said to myself, "All right, cool. Let me just have a quick nap. Let me work on some stuff in about 30 minutes or so." Yo, I only just woke up.
The which, bro, lucky you. I think
This
the
is
highlight of
it.
my day was I took my car to the car wash, and then on my way back it rained. So
Wow.
you know that was not a good investment for me.
This is it. This is it. Okay, cool. So let me know when you're ready to ask some questions. So today
Bro,
is all about an evening with Jermain Jackman. I hope you can hear me properly, Mohammed.
mhm.
But today is all about an evening with Jermain Jackman, getting to know me more, what my politics is, what my views on social justice, my experiences with music, and especially in regards to recent events. I think it's important that we talk about racism and the impact that it's having on Black people around the country, not but also around the world, and how it's impacted us both. For those who don't know, Mohammed will introduce himself, but for those who don't know, Mohammed is a councillor in Lambeth Council. We first met many years ago because we're doing great work and our paths cross. You also lead on the Brixton Soup Kitchen, which is an amazing organization providing support and providing food to the most vulnerable in our society. And obviously, with government austerity, certain policies, organizations, and groups like the Brixton Soup Kitchen is so needed in our communities around the country. So thank you so much for that. But I want to take the opportunity to pass on to Mohammed Hashi to introduce himself and to get this conversation going.
Definitely. So, hi guys, my name's Mahamed Hashi. I am primarily a youth worker. I've been doing youth work for the last 20 years in Lambeth and around London as a whole. Um, Again, I'm mainly from Brixton / Stockwell. So it was a bit rough growing up, if I'm honest with you. In my secondary school, we had 5 head teachers in 5 years. So every year, our head teacher got sacked. Out of about 240 of us, I think only 7 of us got 5 A to C's. So the expectations and the kind of ambitious nature in young people around the area was not really that. So again, by the grace of God, my path was cleared for me a little bit. I ended up going to uni and studying biomedical science. I then done my PGC to become a qualified science teacher. I then done my master's in forensic science, and in 2016 I was awarded an honorary PhD. So obviously, Dr. Mahamed Hashi.
Dope.
But despite all of this kind of stuff and all of those kind of achievements and accolades, so even one of the things, as Jermain was saying, I founded the Bricks and Soup Kitchen with my friend Solomon. So through that and through the youth work, we've got so many different awards, top 1,000 influential Londoners 3 years in a row, Men of the Year, we've won the Back to Black Awards, top 100 happy list in the Independent. So we've won a whole load of stuff, if I'm honest with you. But despite the fact that I've never been in a gang, despite the fact that I've never been involved in criminality, I've got clear DBS, I've never really been on that side of things, always done the thing my mum said I should do in order to be successful. I've still, at the age of 15 was a victim of a stabbing, at the age of 23 was a victim of a shooting, so for me, in terms of social justice, in terms of understanding, where I'm coming from, where a lot of people from our community are coming from, my thing is about the expectations and perceptions of us. So just yesterday, I was in the Evening Standard talking about my experiences of stop and search. So I've been stopped and searched over 60 times since I was 13. And most recently, last year, I was stopped and searched sitting in my car in Stockwell, where I'm a counsellor, despite the fact that I'm formerly the chair of the Stop and Search Monitoring Group in Lambeth, despite the fact that I was the Pan London Stop and Search chair of all the groups in London. I still had officers telling me that they're going to stop and search me for drugs because I looked young and my car looked expensive, which for them meant I was probably a drug dealer. So again, and the truth is, it's been happening for so long. I'm not even angry, if I'm honest with you. But I feel like, first and foremost, we have to be the agents of change. We need to use our positions and our experiences and the resilience we've built through going through so much traumatic and challenging experiences to smooth the path for young people that are coming after us. And for me, Jermain, I'm excited about, this session now, because even when I met you kind of more on the political kind of insightful thing. I didn't realize how significant your journey was. And I'm really excited to kind of delve into that with you, because, from, again, I know you didn't mention it, but from flipping winning The Voice to opening up the Labour conference, do you know what I mean? As a black man, for us, that's so huge. Just for the representation and for the aspiration of people, young people that are seeing you thinking, look, he was, you just came on there as a young you. Even, anyway, we're going to get onto The Voice properly, but even the way when you performed and none of the judges turned around, and, at the last minute, will.i.am turns around. From that point, where in your head you might have thought, I just scraped through, to winning the entire show. I'm like,
we will get onto that.
Yeah, so for me now, but for me, what is this about? That's what we're gonna get into anyway. But for me, I just want to make sure like everyone that's on this today knows how huge this is. Do you know what I mean? Because that's nuts, it's mind blowing. But we're gonna get into it. Should we jump straight into it?
Let's jump straight into it. But I want to also thank you for taking the time out to come and join this live with me. Because I know how much work that you do in the community. I know how vocal you are on issues that affect marginalized communities, and the amazing work that the Bricks and Stoop Kitchen does is just phenomenal. My contribution every single year during Christmas, because I absolutely am so invested in that organization and what you do. So it's amazing what you guys do. So no, thank you. Thanks. So yeah, let's get it started. Let's go on with
it. Sorry. I need to stop reading the comments, so I'll get distracted. So, Abdullah, I'm going to shout you, bro. So yeah, how did you get into music? What was your first experience of music or your first contact?
So I started singing from a very young age, and I didn't know I could always sing. And it was probably around the age of 8 or 9, possibly, when I started to take my singing a bit seriously. And um, it wasn't really me that took my singing seriously. I see my brother is in the conversation. I'm going to try and ignore his
It's
comments.
hard, isn't it?
Um, but it wasn't me who discovered my talent, because all I did was sing in the shower. I sang in the shower, and that's where it started, and that's where it stayed. And it took a long time for me to gain the confidence to want to share my talent with other people. And my dad would hear me sing, my mum would hear me sing, my grandmother would hear me sing, and they would always say, "Why don't you take your singing outside of the shower and onto the stage?" And I would always say, "I don't have the confidence to do that. I prefer to just sing in the shower, at home, totally fine." And then came one Sunday morning in church, and as the church service was going on, the priest, who is now the bishop of, I believe, the Bishop of Dover, Bishop Rose, she was a priest in Hackney back in the day. She called up my name and she said, "Now we have a musical contribution from Jermain." So I was like, huh? I looked at Granny, and my granny was like, "You better get up and go and sing." So what I didn't realize is that my granny had spoken to the priest and arranged for me to sing. So as I was walking up, this was probably the longest walk of my life. I was walking up to the front of the church, and I was literally running through my head, what am I going to sing? What am I going to sing? And the only song that came into my spirit was this. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. And so I go to a Church of England church, and Church of England churches, you don't really clap. You don't clap, you just be like, okay. But after I had sung, the crowd and the congregation just erupted in applause. And that's when I knew that I had a talent. That's when I knew that I had a skill. And I said that I can no longer keep this gift that God has given me caged and hidden away. That this gift that God has given me needs to be used to bless the hearts and minds of people who would listen to it. And that there's so much more to my voice than just music. It's also politics, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And so from that moment of singing in church, I started to develop my confidence much more. It then moved into school, and we had a school competition. And the rest is history. I started to gain that experience. Jeremy Corbyn was in the audience, and I know we'll talk about Jeremy in a bit, but Jeremy was in the audience on one of my first ever public performances outside of church, and this was I Am's Idol, because my secondary school was in his constituency. And as I started to sing "And I'm Telling You" by Jennifer Hudson, crowd had erupted. Yeah, I see my brother, I Am's Idol. The crowd erupted, and Jeremy came up to me after my performance and said, "You have a phenomenal voice. I do loads of campaigns and events, and I would love for you to come and sing at these events that I'm speaking at." And it's through those events that Jeremy actually gave me the opportunity to improve my confidence, improve my skill, and make me the singer that I am today. So I have a lot of respect and thanks to give to those individuals who really spurred me on. And I'm not gonna lie, Orlan, my older brother, he spurred me on. All of my brothers, Martin, Owen, and my twin sister Chanel, my mum, my dad, who bought me a karaoke machine, and then later threw it away because I was making too much noise too late in the night singing Whitney Houston songs. But also, without a shadow of a doubt, my grandmother, who is and who has always inspired me to pursue my music, to do what I love to do, and really encouraged me. Because if it wasn't for her, I don't know where I would be today.
And she's not with us now, is she?
No, she passed away 2 years ago, and you know it still feels fresh. But I've still got some pictures in my wardrobe of her. And
Go and introduce her to everyone.
let me get some pictures. One
Yeah,
sec.
bring some pictures.
So this is my grandmother, Georgina, and this is another picture of her.
Oh,
So yeah, and she means she meant, but she continues to mean the world to me. Her approach to everything, her approach to life, her approach to work, her approach to God, her connection to family, and her approach to making sure that she leads a family. That's the true leaders, the matriarchs, the mothers of our families are the leaders of our families. And they have an ability, women and mothers have an ability to not only, you don't need to class them as a leader. It's just in their DNA to lead, to look after, to nurture, to grow and to build the generations. And that's why the matriarch, my grandmother, is everything to me.
so just quickly, just to revisit. So when Jeremy actually was asking you to perform, this is before you've gone on TV and before you was well known. So I'm guessing you didn't really have much to gain from it then.
Yeah, no, you know, I had a lot to gain from it. This was
No,
before.
not you. I mean him.
Oh yeah, with him, he didn't have anything to gain with it. He just saw a young person in his constituency who loved to sing, and he was like, "Well, if I can provide opportunities for this young person to sing, then by all means." So
Fantastic.
I remember mornings where he would call me in the morning, and he was like, "Look, Jermain, I'm speaking at this event, whether it's female female,
Mutilation.
yeah, FGM. Sorry,
FGM.
my brain's a bit frazzled at the moment."
Right.
And he was like, "I'm speaking at this event in regards to FGM. I would love for you to come and sing a song." And he's probably one of the only people that will be able to tell me what song to sing. So he will tell me, "What about You Raise Me Up?" or "The Weep Beneath My Wings." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And then I would come with him. He would already be at the event. I would turn up. Him and I would have a conversation. I would sing. He would then he would speak first, very short speech, and then he would introduce me. I'll then sing. He'll then come back on and speak a bit more about the song and the lyrics of the song in relation to his speech. And it was like a double act that we used to do. And so when he became leader of the Labour Party, he had my 100% support, not just because of the support that he gave me, but because I understood his politics and the kind of world and society that he wanted to create.
And we'll get into the politics side of things in a bit, but just let's finish off the music bit. So how did you actually get to audition then on The Voice, and what was going through? What was your expectation when you? I don't know. Is it application? Do you have to do audit? Just tell us a little bit about that.
So not many people know this. I'm gonna drop some gems and some secrets that people don't know.
Everyone, get your
Let me
notepads
start
out.
off by saying that I'm currently writing a book proposal on the reality of reality TV, which talks about my experience on reality TV, and we've got some contestants from The Voice in the comment section as well. And I would encourage them to talk about their experiences in the comment section, so I can draw on that.
Highlight who they are.
I don't know if they want to be highlighted just yet, but if they wish to be highlighted, please write your experience and how you found that process in the comment section.
Yeah, just put your hand up.
Right? Just put your hand up. Own It, which is an amazing organization, an amazing company, publishing company that supports up and coming authors, thinkers, speakers. They are supporting me in that process as well, and they are supporting this live that we're doing right now. So, so someone's just spoken out about it. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. So I auditioned for The Voice when I was 16 years old, and this was the first ever series of The Voice. Remember how they advertised it? If you could, a new singing program coming to your TV screens. If you can sing, you can get in. So audition here. And for me, Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, it never resonated with me. I heard some horror stories about those programs, and I thought, you know what? Why not? Why don't I apply and audition? So I put in an application. I was really nervous about it, but I said, you know what? If you don't pursue these things, it will never happen. So put an application. I then got a reply back saying, would love for you to come onto our show. Would love for you to be a part of the audition process. This is the details. This is location. This is your time slot. Turn up. And what you guys don't see on TV is that we have to go through rounds of producers first and foremost before we get on to the actual opportunity to be on TV. So I remember turning up at this hotel in West London, hundreds of other singers, and we were going through group sessions, group interviews, and we just kept on going until we kept on getting whittled down. And we just had to take a quick sip of water.
We take the same.
And as we got down to the final 5 or 6 individuals, I remember going to this set of producers, and they said, "Okay, cool. Tell us a bit more about yourself." So I was like, "Okay, cool. Well, I'm 16 years old. My name is Jermain, and I'm from Hackney, and I love." And they're like, "Oh, are you in any gangs?" So I was like, no, but I am a member of the youth parliament, and I love to talk about politics, and I've done this, and I've worked with police, and they were like, okay, great. And the energy in the room shifted. I didn't really realize that at the moment, and a part of me felt like I was overthinking it there and then, but I felt like the energy in the room shifted. So I said, you know what, I'm still going to do my thing, but they didn't want to hear me sing. They just wanted to talk to me. Wow. I was so excited about that opportunity. I went home and I spoke about that opportunity to my mom. I said, Mom, I had an amazing day. This is what I did. This is who I met. And this was the process. And this is who I spoke to. And this is what was asked of me. And I was so excited about it that, you know, when you think about something so much that you have a dream about it. And I remember having a dream about this. And I will never forget the dream. And I was in a line with about 50 other singers. And will.i.am was in this colonel outfit, marched up and down this line. And he stopped and he pointed at me. And he said, you're not going to get it this time, but you'll win the second time. Now, that didn't make any sense to me. Didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I was like, what do you mean I'm not going to get it this time? And for me, I take my dreams. My family is a family. We wake up every morning and we're like, yo, I had one hell of a dream last night. And this dream said that this will happen. Like, this, that's how my family are. So I remember talking to my mom about this dream. And my mom was like, well, look, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. So a couple of days went on and I got an email saying I'm not what they're looking for. And that destroyed my confidence. Completely destroyed my confidence. Because remember, the way they advertised the show was that if you can sing, you can get in. And by me not getting in, made me feel like I couldn't sing.
So in that audition, did you actually get to sing? Because you said they wanted to talk to you more.
Yeah, no, I got to sing, but everything was singing in groups of random people.
So not by yourself?
Not by myself. So I had prepared songs and a backing track list, but they were like, okay, well, sing this verse. Everyone knows the song, sing this verse, and everyone sing the same verse, and that's the way they whittled it down. So that was a really confidence destroying process. And when I mean confidence destroying, when you put your all into something to then be told you're terrible at it, was absolutely soul destroying. Because I felt like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Who is Jermain Jackman? at 16, what am I supposed to do now? University wasn't something that I wanted to get into, and further education. Sorry, my friend was just texting me. I shouldn't have even looked at my phone because now he's throwing me off.
Mm.
So further and higher education wasn't something that I wanted to get into. I wanted to get into music, and I think I was just finishing secondary school at this time, and yeah, so it destroyed my confidence, and I didn't want to sing anymore. I said, well, my dad wants me to be a basketball player. My mom keeps talking about law. Let me just go into those things. But those things weren't actually me.
Mm.
And I did I did what I did when I first started singing. I caged my talent. I put it away, and I didn't want to be vocal. I didn't want to share my skills or my talent with anybody. And it took a very long time for me to get back on the horse and ride it. It took a very long time for me to find the confidence within myself to say, okay, now is the time that I can perform and share my talent.
So
And
how long is a long time?
uh, I would say it took me maybe 9 months to a year
Wow.
to really find that confidence within because I was 16 at the time.
Mm.
I was 16. I poured my all into music and to singing that um, that to have that just snatched away and to tell me, are we allowed to swear?
I think we should swear.
All right, I think we should swear. And told me that I'm shit, and that's
No,
how I
that's
read
not
it.
swearing. That's not swearing.
Okay, that's not swearing, but you gave me the okay. What time is it? All right, well after 8:30, we'll go into the proper swear.
God.
That's the watershed. But I felt like I wasn't good enough, and I really struggled with my ability. So I said, all right, cool. Let me slowly get myself back on there. So I started singing and performing at different events. And this is my message to all those creatives listening into this. Any opportunity that comes your way, take it. Because you never know who's going to be in the audience. Even if it's one person in the audience, always give your 100%. And so I was asked to sing at this. Sorry,
Yeah, I just had to read that as well.
okay. Thank you so much for some of the comments. But uh, I was asked to sing at a birthday party in a small restaurant in Catford. Didn't think much about it. I started off singing, "At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song." And I sung that song at last by Etta James, a phenomenal, amazing song. And Kanye King, who is the founder of the Mobile Awards, was in the audience having her dinner. Didn't think much about it. She came up to me, and I was 18 now. Now I'm 18. She came up to me and she said, "You have a phenomenal voice. I want to put you forward for The Voice." I was like, thanks, but no thanks. I had a horrible, terrible experience. I've just recovered from that impact. I don't think I want to do that again. I don't think I want to do that again. And she was like, no, 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 you won't. And I spoke about my experience to her. She's like, tell me what happened. And she was like, look, I told her the situation. She was like, look, you can skip all those rounds of producers and I'll get you to the final rounds of producers, because those rounds of producers, sometimes the best talent gets kicked out.
Mm.
And I'll get you to the final round of producers. So I was like, okay, cool. That process went around, and I got to the final producers. They told me to pick 5 songs. I picked those 5 songs and I sang it. And there and then they said to me, "You sound amazing, you're on the show." I was like, sorry. Like, yeah, you're on the show. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then the rest was history. That whole process of bringing my family up to Manchester for the filming, and the trials and tribulations, the ups and downs of that show. Kimberly, who's in the chat, and Miles, who's also in the chat, were contestants on the show, and they would know, and they are testament to those trials and tribulations, because I had to share some of those moments with them. but it definitely defined and shaped who the person I am today. And that blind audition, if you guys ever get an opportunity to go onto YouTube, see my blind audition and see the color on my face. The color of my face has my face was gray, basically, because I was so nervous walking out onto that stage to sing in front of will.i.am, Tom Jones, Ricky Wilson, and Kylie Minogue,
But
and to share that talent with them.
so Jermain, let me ask you a question because I've watched that clip, right? And I was wondering, right? And I watched that clip knowing you won,
Yeah.
right? But you didn't know that because this is your first time coming up in front of or behind the judges, and you're singing, right? And I'm listening to you. I saw a point where you got this kind of Tom Jones voice that comes into the audition. You know, this deep voice, right?
Yeah.
And you watch Tom Jones, like actually you couldn't see it, but he kind of sits up a little bit, and you're singing, right? And you're coming towards the end of your song, and no one's turned around yet.
Yeah.
How are you feeling at that point? And what got you to continue singing? Because I think I would have stopped, especially if I had that previous experience.
So what was going through my mind was that, look, nobody's turning around, Jermain, but you got this far, and that's an achievement in itself. So use this, because one of the things that was terrible for us was we were backstage, and I was on the last day of filming. There was about 7 spaces in total across all the teams, and there was about maybe 30 of us, 30 singers backstage. And every time a space was taken by will.i.am, Kylie Minogue, Tom Jones, or Ricky Wilson, the producers will come back into the room and tell us, yo, there's only 7 spaces left. There's only 6 spaces left. There's only 4 spaces left. So I think it was at a point where there was only 4 spaces left, and it was then my turn. And there was still about 17 other singers left to sing. And I was like, oh, sugar. So when nobody was turning around for me, I started to think, well, it's been a great experience. I've learned so much so far, but it looks like no one's going to turn around. And then as I was singing, I started to think, okay, well, let me show different sides of my voice. Let me show the bottom end. Let me show the different sounds and textures to my voice, and maybe that might intrigue a couple of people. I was doing the most. I was doing all I could.
So that wasn't even planned then. That's
wasn't even planned.
What you was gonna do when you first walked in.
I just thought I was just gonna sing the song, but then I thought, okay, nobody's really turning around, so let me give you different things and different textures and different abilities to my voice in that 1 minute and 30 seconds that I've got. And as I held that last note, that head voice last note, that will.i.am then hit his note, hit his button, and he turned around, and you would see my face light up, because as soon as he turned around, guess what happened? The dream that I had when I was 16 came flooding straight back to me at the age of 18, and it said, Jermain, remember when I said you're not going to get it this time, but you'll get it the second time? This is that second time. And that's why I'm so spiritual. That's why I'm a believer, because God has given me the vision and the dream at the age of 16, because he knew the trials and tribulations that I had to overcome in order to be there, and he knew the trials and tribulations that will come in order to be where I'm at today. And there's so many more trials and tribulations, obstacles and barriers that I will need to face in later in life. But because I experienced what I experienced when I was 16 and 18, I feel like I'm equipped to take on those barriers and those obstacles. How did I get over those barriers and obstacles at 16, 17, and 18? I don't know. Honestly, I do not know. And a lot of it was down to my family, my friends, who supported me, who said, no, Jermain, you actually have an amazing talent. You actually have an amazing ability. And one of the only people that I can, my go-to people was my granny. And I would talk to her about the situation quite a bit. I'll tell her how I'm feeling. And she was so supportive of me. She would support me. She would encourage me. And I can still feel her spirit every single time I step out onto the stage, her encouraging me. Every time when I'm feeling down, her encouragement and that encouraging spirit and vibe is always there. And the spirits of all my friends that I've lost over the last couple of years, since, they are with me and they are standing beside me.
Because I was going to say, just on the final part on this kind of topic, is I remember when I was watching your audition, right? And this is what I wanted to ask you, just because of your previous experience. There was quite a heavy kind of emphasis on the fact that you was from Hackney and you've had friends that's been killed. And I was listening to it thinking, what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was
like, how did that feel? Because I'm guessing from your first experience at 16, where they're like, oh, are you in a gang? Have you been involved in criminality? To when you're there at 18, I'm guessing when they're doing interviews, they're prompting you a little bit about what you should say. How did that make you feel?
Someone wrote in the comment section and explained it so plainly. I didn't fit the narrative, and they wanted to create a narrative around me. And that narrative was around a young black man from Hackney, must be involved in criminal activity, must be involved in gang culture, lost a lot of friends to knife crime. It got to a point where I was like, but this is not my story. I don't think it's fair that you're trying to make this my story. Yes, I've known people who've been stabbed and killed, but that's not my story. I don't come from that background, and I come from a background where I've been involved and engaged in politics because I want to change that experience for my friends, for communities around the country. So when they did this whole narrative around, oh yeah, Jermain Jackman's involved in gang culture and that, but he wants to be involved in politics, I was like, no, just say that I'm passionate about politics. It's not always. It's not
because at the time you was a youth member of parliament, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the question I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like if you was a white contestant or a white 18-year-old, from Hackney who was involved in, youth politics and had good understanding of kind of like the political infrastructure, do you feel like they would have still pushed that narrative on you?
No. And that's a very important question. And it's the way that the media frames black people and white people and what narrative that they want the person to pursue. It got to a point where, and some of the contestants are testament to that. It got to a point where I refused to follow that narrative anymore. The producers of the show were like, Jermain, repeat after me, blah blah blah, and I'm like, no, because that's not who I am. I'm not going to repeat that sentence. This doesn't mean the world to me. This is not my whole life. I'm only 18 years old. How does this mean my whole life? Like, I've still got a whole life ahead of me. So it very much, and that's such an important question, because I wonder if I was a white boy with blonde hair and blue eyes from a middle class or wealthy background, will they be asking the same question? Will they want me to pursue the same narrative?
Mm-hmm.
Will they frame me as a person who has had their own individual trials and tribulations, and I'm using this program to as a therapeutic way? Sometimes people just want to sing. And one of the reasons, the main reason why actually, and not many people know this, but the main reason why I actually did The Voice was because I wanted to go to American University, Berklee College of Music. I wanted to get a name for myself and then get a scholarship to go into the university. For me, winning the program wasn't the thing that I wanted to do. So when I did win it, I was definitely shocked.
So just on winning it, how did that feel? And I'm talking about, at the last bit, just as the announcement's about to come out of who's going to win, and you're standing there, you've got further than anything you could have imagined, even though I'm guessing at some point you're aiming to win. Just put me in your mind right there. Let us get a bit of insight into how your brain works, because you've gone from getting rejected straight up, probably because you wasn't sexy enough in terms of your story at 16. I guarantee if you said you was in a gang and just a few weeks ago you got shot at, and this opportunity is something that's going to change your life and might save your life, you'd have been on the show the first time Firstly, that's my personal opinion, right?
Mm.
Then you went to a point where you was fortunate enough to come across Kenya at the perfect time, and you was able to showcase your talent. And you got into the show, and then you got into a point where you're almost accepted. You look, I've got as far as I was gonna get. You know, this is amazing. I've loved the experience, and then Will.i.am turns around. So almost at every point, it's like it was by the grace of God and through hope that got you through.
Mm.
And now you're standing on the top of the mountain alongside another contestant, right? And you're waiting for the nation to speak and make its choice. And you've already been more blessed than anything you could have possibly asked God for. And they say your name. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so the build up to that moment was a stressful one. The reason why was because at the time I had managers who were saying to me, Jermain, do not win. Because you will be locked down in contracts and legal frameworks that will cripple you. Had that in my mind. I also had in my mind the fact that my experience over the time on The Voice was a very turbulent one, where I felt like there were systems and structures against me who didn't actually want me to win. Then I had my family, my friends, the community who came out in force, who were like, yo, we want you to win. And then I said to myself, what do I want? How do I feel? What is my mind saying? And I never got to ask myself that question. And it got to a point where one of the vocal coaches on the program had said to me, Jermain, I don't think I've ever heard you saying that you wanted to win this. I never actually heard you say that you really are fighting to win this. And I said to him, because I'm hearing so many different voices, I can't even hear myself think. I'm hearing so many different voices, I can't even form my own opinion. And that's why I haven't said it. That's why I can't bring myself to say it, because I don't know if I want to win or not. Now, let me put a disclaimer in and say I'm not ungrateful for winning, because the doors that I've opened have been phenomenal. But I had all these voices in my head about winning, don't win, should you win, questioning myself, thinking about the systems that prevented me from trying to win. And I said, God, whatever you feel needs to happen, let it happen.
100.
Let it happen. And I said, you know what, Jermain? Just let go. Stop trying to form an opinion and make a decision with all of these different elements and entities around you pulling and pushing you. Everyone's pulling me from different directions, and I'm like, I can't even focus. Because one of the rules is that, how do I stop myself from winning? Do I do a terrible performance?
Do you know what I mean?
Is that not then discrediting me and my ability?
100%.
What do I need to do? So I said, God, I'm letting go, and I'm letting you go ahead and do what you need to do. I'm going to give my 100% best and go ahead. So as I did that, as I let go and let God have his way, I won.
Amazing.
And it's almost like I didn't hear it right. I was like, huh? When they called my name, I was like, huh? What was that? And it didn't actually hit me. It didn't hit me then. It didn't hit me probably until maybe a couple of days after, when I actually got home from doing the press rounds and traveling the country, speaking on radio. I didn't see my family for maybe about 4 days after I had won, because I was going around the country. As soon as I won, we had an after party, the morning after party. I then got whisked to a hotel in Euston, and then from there I had to get onto a train straight up to Manchester. And I was literally just on the go for about 4 days. And when I got home, put down my suitcase, sat down in my sitting room, I was like, oh my God, I just won a national competition on primetime television. And the thing that will.i.am said to me when I won, he was said, you know, you're the first black man to win any talent competition this country's ever had.
Wow.
I was like, huh? The last time a black man won a talent competition, a national talent competition that was televised, was probably Lenny Henry over 30 years ago on those talent competitions that they had.
Wow.
So God knew how historic this would be. God knew, and I know I'm talking about God a lot and religion a lot, but spirituality is a very fundamental pillar in my life.
I think you should be
Um,
unashamed about it, if I'm honest. Everyone's
right.
belief is their belief. Straight.
I'm just putting it out there, but
Yeah, straight. I'm not
when
even
I
trying to be PC today.
this is it, this is it. But when I think about uh, the impact that me winning has had on black boys around the country, when they can say, "Wow, like for the first time on prime time television, a young black man from a borough like Hackney," and I don't say it with no, not trying to slate or cuss out Hackney, but a borough like Hackney that gets negative press, young black men that get negative press, to be on primetime television talking about how interested in politics I am, using my talent and my skill, that changed the narrative. I was able to control my own story and control my own narrative. I was not exempt to racism. Racism is embedded in reality TV, entertainment industry, and the music industry. We all know that.
I think we can hear it
And
anyway in the story.
this is it. And it was definitely obstacles that I had to overcome. But if someone were to ask me, do you regret going onto The Voice and winning it? No, because everything happens for a reason.
So,
And go ahead.
no, so I was going to say, so, because I got a good friend, Fleur, who she was on X Factor. And
Yeah.
I've known her for like, I think 16 years now. I was at her wedding last year. And I remember when she was on X Factor, she got to the last final three and we got invited onto a battle bar. So we done, you know, they do X Factor a bit different. And I
Yeah.
remember when it was coming up to the last bit in terms of the voting, everyone's doing everything. And I'm sitting there not knowing whether we want her to win or not.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Same
Yeah.
kind of reasons as you. But again, it's so poignant because it's crazy to imagine the advice you was getting from your managers, which was beneficial to you as an individual. Don't get into these contracts. You're going to be tied down. You're not going to have as much flexibility, etc. And they're not
Yeah.
seeing the impact of the inspiration and aspiration of young black kids. If you did win, you know, being a bit more selfless in terms of what you're doing. So my question is for you, like just a little bit, because I know we've got quite a few other subjects and topics we wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
What was that experience afterwards like? So I'm guessing you're celebrating, it's exciting, you've broke all the rules, you're a young black man winning national things when we're not supposed to know anything about stabbings, apart from stabbings and shootings and criminality. We're not supposed to be able to read, let alone sing in tune. Now you've won this competition.
Yeah.
You've got a minute just to collect yourself. Yeah, you're national winner. You're in the eye of all the press. And now
So
it comes down to business.
okay, I'll let you know stage by stage what happened.
Fantastic.
I won. I sung my final song and I burst into tears. One of the things that I said I must never do.
Yeah.
But the thing is when you see your mother cry, you can't stop. It can't stop you. So I literally saw my mother and my granny crying, and I was like, "Yo, my waterworks started." And I cried. I then got to hug my sister, my family, my friends. The people that were there with me were, I think, Miles Anthony, an amazing artist, an amazing singer. He was in the crowd. I asked him to be there with me and share that special moment. My mum, my uncle, my grandmother, and my brother was there, Erwin. And I got off stage, went backstage. I was sweating like mad because I'm a sweater. And my phone had crashed because I was inundated with so many messages. Like, I don't know. I have never experienced anything like that in my life. All I saw was WhatsApp notifications pop from like 19 to like 400. I didn't even know so many people had my number, first and foremost. Facebook messages popped off, Twitter messages popped off. I don't think Instagram was about then. Instagram was, but Instagram was really dead. No one really was using it at the time because I think it just had come out.
No offense to
And,
Instagram.
right. So we're showing our age, right? And my phone literally started glitching and it just turned off. I was like, what's up with my phone? So it had crashed because I got so many messages. I then got to undress myself, relax, take some pictures with people, and then I told my family, yo, meet me at the after party and I'll see you guys there. I couldn't do that via my phone, so I had to tell somebody to tell my family to meet me at the after party. Met with my family and chilled, blah, blah, blah. After party was great, drinking, celebrating, doing whatnot. And this is a moment that I want everyone to pay attention to, because this is why I am the way I am right now. This is why I decided to write a book about my experience. At the after party, the executive producer came up to me. And one thing about me and when I'm drinking is that I always have my senses.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's going on. I'm very sharp, even though I'm drunk. She came up to me and she said this: even though we did what we did, you still won. And for that, congratulations. She said, even though we did what we did, you still won. And for that, congratulations. And I sort of laughed it off. But my brain was registering it. And I remember, Mohammed, you still with me? The camera's just frozen up a bit.
Okay.
And I remember pulling my friend outside. And he was like, Jermain, what's up? I said, we need to talk now. He was like, what? What? I said, now. Literally, I went outside and I said, yo, the executive producer of the show said this to me. So remember when I said all those times I felt like the world was against me? I felt like they didn't want me to win. I wasn't overthinking it. And you know when someone gets so drunk and their mouth gets very loose?
Loose, yeah.
That's exactly what happened. So,
Jermain,
both of our cameras.
I was gonna say, again, if it's good with everyone and if it's good with you, let's log out now, save the video, and let's do it again.
Okay, because we're coming up to an hour, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay,
Guys,
I've never.
Make sure you jump back in.
Yeah, please jump back in because the conversation is about to get real deep. We're still yet to talk about politics. We're still yet to talk about social injustice. So we're gonna come back. So yeah, I'm gonna end it. Make sure you come back onto my profile and check out my live. Okay.
Thanks, Crystal.
I need to. I don't know how to do this, but yeah.
I'm glad you have to manage it. I'm not gonna lie. Guys, we'll be back in 2 minutes.